Hello, and welcome to Armenian Enough, a podcast about life and identity in the diaspora, with your host, Lara Vanian-Green.
Hello, and welcome to this episode of Armenian Enough. In our last episode, we interviewed the executive producer and director of the Armenian Dating Show. But the story would not be complete without hearing from the daters themselves. I'm super excited to have two of the OG daters with us here today, going all the way back to episode 1. Can you even remember that far back? All right. My corny jokes aside, I'm really happy to have Vanessa and Shant today on the show. When she's not starring in the newest Armenian reality show, Vanessa Ansoorian is busy working as the chief of staff to the president of Hulu and ABC Entertainment. As an alumni of Alex Pilipos and a graduate of UCLA, she's always been involved with the Armenian community through various positions with Hominid Men and other Armenian organizations. In her free time, Vanessa loves to travel with her friends and family, meticulously planning their adventure-filled itinerary. And when he's not busy listening to dating advice from his dad and best friend, Shant Nazarian devotes his time to his postgraduate studies at UC Irvine, focusing on legal and forensic psychology. Despite his relaxed demeanor, Shant is a second-degree black belt in karate, as well as a former LAPD cadet. In his spare time, he enjoys making comedy sketch videos and working out at the gym. Welcome to the show, Vanessa and Shant.
Hi, thanks for having us.
It's so awesome to talk to you. I feel like I know you, which I obviously don't, but please forgive any unwarranted familiarity. I love the show. I get excited every Monday and Thursday when a new episode drops. I call my friends after the show and we talk about it, and it's so great. I love it. How was it for you doing the show? How do you feel now after having seen a few episodes come out?
Vanessa, you could go first. I'm going to take a while to figure this one out.
For me personally, every Monday and Thursday is filled with a bit of anxiety because, we also have not seen these episodes. So I don't know at all what I've said. I mean, it's, I forget I've said so many things at this point that I'm like, what are they going to use? What facial expression have I made that might make the situation more awkward or less awkward? So it is a little nerve-wracking, honestly, to see yourself on TV. But, I've thoroughly enjoyed the experience. And overall, I think the production team has done an amazing job with capturing who we are as people. So I'm really pleased with the entire experience and everything that I've seen thus far.
And I know that during the interview segments, you do have a lot of facial expressions, and I love it because I feel like I know what you're thinking or feeling. But I have to say that on the actual dates themselves, you're very friendly and outgoing, but I don't know what you're thinking. I can't look at your face and say what you're thinking.
That's honestly exactly how I feel. I don't know what I'm thinking of. No, but it's a really kind of high stress environment because I don't know about Shant, but at least myself, I have not been on blind dates. So there's already the pressure of you have no idea who this person is. Then the added pressure of the fact that there are cameras on you. And then, there are people, looky-loos that are watching around too. So it kind of feels like you're on a date with an audience of people. So all I was generally thinking was, smile, try to look your best, and don't say anything stupid, which is a lot to do while also trying to listen to the other person and having a conversation. So there was a lot going on personally in my mind, I know, but I think for the most part, I could tell pretty quickly in a date if I'm into someone or not. And at the end of the day, I'm not there to make anyone feel bad if we don't have a connection or not. I'm just there hey, thank you for being here. We're both having this surreal experience. Let's just make the best of it.
Yeah, you know what? You just gave me an idea when you were talking about what another version of a dating show could be. You could have two blind dates meeting on stage with a live audience.
Oh, I would watch that in a heartbeat.
In real time, reacting to what people say. Oh my gosh. Shant, what was it like for you to watch the episodes back?
It was very, very scary to rewatch because for someone like me, I, for whatever reason, can't watch myself unless I'm doing like a comedy skit because that's just me on camera. It's not like a character that I'm playing. And it doesn't help the fact that like everybody from my family, meaning Menua and my dad and my friends that I have outside of school and, in school, they're like my notification system every day. Oh, this episode's coming out at 4. You're going to be on? Are we having a watch party? I'm like, bro, my dad's forcing me to watch this right now. Let me just go watch it with him first, and then I'll come and watch it with you. But I guess like the best way I can put it was the show itself. I think Vanessa put it the best. They did such a fantastic job really capturing the whole experience of our families and what it's like to be Armenian. And the dating aspect was probably one of the most nerve-wracking because for me, I like to basically go with the flow. But when so much of the control of the show is being placed onto the crew and the production team and the director, and they don't tell you anything, it's very, very like, I hope it's not like some random dude doesn't pull up on the date and just like ruin the whole situation. There were a lot of little subtle things that I was thinking about during those blind dates because I think, Vanessa said it, like, she doesn't know that I've been on blind dates before. I definitely haven't. I've had zero experience with blind dates. So that was also a nice little cherry on top to the nerve-wracking thing that I experienced during the whole thing. But it was a great experience overall, and it was very fun.
Well, I have to say, you both are really good, or you come off very natural. Like it really seems like you're being yourselves, and it really seems the whole thing has such a genuine feel about it. When I was speaking with Anthony and Zoe, they over and over talked about how much they genuinely cared about, the cast members. And they said they have a hard time even calling you guys cast members because you're their friends to them. And they truly cared about your experience. And, we're not interested in manipulating things like can sometimes happen in other reality shows where even I've seen they'll show a commercial clip where someone says something very dramatic and then when you watch the show, they use it for something completely different. It's like, those little games and stuff don't happen here, which is a nice change.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. I mean, there were a lot of conversations that I had with Tony and Zoe, the director, and Abby, who was oh my God, I'm blanking out. What was her position on the show? Do you remember, Vanessa?
Producer. I think she was a co-producer.
I think she might have been a co-producer. Every time we were filming or right before we started any of the filming, whether it was on the dates or whether it was some of the, shots that were done at home, we were always in constant communication with each other. There was no misunderstanding. We never tried to step on each other's toes. And they were actually very, very open to the idea of change, regardless of whatever the situation may be. Maybe something happens like shooting wise, scheduling wise. They were very, very open and honest with us throughout the entire process, at least with me and my family. I don't know if it was the same for Vanessa. I probably was, but we were very lucky to be working with such a supportive team.
That's wonderful to hear. Wow. So I'm just curious. I know we got right into the show because I'm a little overexcited to talk about it. But if we take a step back, I'm curious about just the role that Armenian culture played in your upbringing for each one of you. I know you both have gone to Armenian schools. Probably, was it most of your 12?
Yeah,
most of it.
Yeah. I can go ahead. I mean, so for me, I think the Armenian experience was very interesting because as they may or may not have covered in the show, my mom was born in Syria and my dad is third generation Armenian born in the States. So he does not speak, read, write the language at all. And, when my parents had us, it was a question about like, do we send them to an Armenian school? Because my mom went to Pilibos from like K through 6th. And my dad was actually the one that was like, we need to do whatever we can, whether that's, scrimp a little bit here and there financially, we need to send our kids to an Armenian school because I don't want them to become assimilated like I have. I don't want them to not know about their culture, not know their language. And that was very, very important for him. And honestly, if it wasn't for their decision to send me to an Armenian school, I really don't know how much of the language or the culture I would have absorbed, to be honest, because at home with, my parents and my siblings, we didn't speak much Armenian at all. Honestly, the only Armenian we spoke was when we were trying to say something we didn't want my dad to understand, which we learned later on was kind of mean. So we stopped doing that. But after school, we would go to my maternal grandparents' house and they only speak Armenian. So we would speak it with our grandparents. We would speak it with our aunts and uncles, but at home, we never spoke it. So if we hadn't gone to an Armenian school and if my grandparents weren't the ones that would pick us up after school, I really don't know how much I would have absorbed. I don't know whether there would have been a desire from my parents to have put me in the Armenian organizations that they did. And I credit all of that to the person that I am today because, I went to Pilibos from preschool through 12th grade. I was in Homenet Men for the greater portion of my life. And all of those aspects of me have shaped the person that I am today. And I'm grateful for those experiences. So I really do have to shout out my parents who pushed to get me into an Armenian school.
Your dad definitely has a very American feel. And I'm not saying that in a bad way because my mom used to always say that when she wanted to insult me. Like, you're so American.
Yeah.
But,
and honestly, like really quickly, that's something that I appreciate about the show because they wanted to highlight so many different types of families, which is so important for people to see, not just Armenians, non-Armenians, everyone in the community. It's so important for people to see that though I may have the bigger quote unquote traditional family, it's not really that traditional. My dad doesn't speak the language, like he is an Americanized Armenian father. So I wasn't raised with these, I guess stereotypical views, which is why it's so important in the family meets for my daters that my family was really looking for someone who is an equal partner and views relationships with equality and they view their partner with equality because that's all I have seen growing up. I haven't seen the woman just be the homemaker, the husband, the breadwinner, which is completely a very acceptable type of family. It's just not what I saw growing up. So that's why they had such an emphasis on making sure that whoever I was with was going to be an equal partner with me.
I loved it. And I won't give anything away either, but I loved when they asked one of the daters, who does your laundry or like, does your mom do your, I was dying. I had to like pause and cackle and then like replay.
I mean, yeah, I was watching that was very, very stressed, like sweat beads coming down my face. And it wasn't at all to, I don't want people to think that my family was, throwing shade or passing judgment or anything like that. It was just that Vanessa has grown up in a household with parents and seen her aunts and uncles, even up to my grandparents. My grandfather did just as much housework as my grandmother did. That is what I have always seen. He would prepare food, or if she made the food, he would wash the dishes. And they both still had full-time jobs. So I think that's really the takeaway that I wanted these daters and, everyone that's watching to see as well, that like we're in the 21st century. We live in America and it's okay to seek out someone who is an equal to you.
100%. And I have to say, both of my parents were immigrants to this country, and my dad is Armenian from Syria. But when he married my mom, who's Armenian from Argentina, my mom did not know how to cook or clean or anything. She did know how to sew amazing dresses, but she didn't know how to do any of the household stuff. So my dad just took that over. And so I grew up in a house where he made amazing Middle Eastern food and it was totally normal. Yeah. My mom would destroy pans trying to boil water. Like, you just did not want that woman in the kitchen. That wasn't her talent. And so I can totally relate to that.
Yeah.
How about you, Shant? tell me a little bit about the role that Armenian culture played in your background. I know we hear a lot about the show about how your parents are divorced, and that wasn't a thing. I have to say my parents divorced when I was 13, which was ages and ages and ages ago. So I can really relate to that. Tell me a little bit about how you grew up.
So, for a majority of I like to think of myself as the first generation that was born in a immigrant household. That actually, I'm not thinking of it. That is what happened. I mean, my dad, both my parents were born in Iran. They came to this country and they really figured it out on their own. They said, let's make a baby. And then I popped out. And I lived in a big household. So I had my grandparents in one room, my parents in the other room. My aunt had a spare room in the house. And a lot of people say, they're always asked, what was your first language? For me, Armenian and English were learned at the same time. I don't remember a moment in my life where I learned Armenian first or I learned English first. They were kind of both incorporated well at the same time. My grandparents and my mom and my dad would speak Armenian in the household all the time. It was very rare to speak English in the house. So I guess that's one of the reasons why I'm very fortunate to say that I'm really good in speaking Armenian and I don't shy away from speaking Armenian. I went to AGBU MDS in the Valley from K through 12. Most of my friends that I grew up with were Arev Madahairen, which is Western Armenian. And I was raised in a household where I was Eastern Armenian. So that's Persian Armenians. I think we can consider people from mainland Armenia as Hayastanis as Eastern Armenian, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. So, and then most of my friends were Western Armenians. So, they were Lebanese Armenians, Syrian Armenians, what else? Egyptian Armenians, all over the place. And it was very hard in the beginning to adjust to their language style. It was very, very difficult for me early on because I think one of my teachers, and I remember this very vividly, when I was in kindergarten, one of the teachers said, I was like acting out or whatever. She was my Armenian teacher and she goes, her exact words were, Yete panme, yete noren asiga anes, kezi bit bachem, which in English means if you do this one more time, you're going to get punished. Bachem is, bachem in Western Armenian is batajem, meaning it's just a shortened version of punishment. But in Eastern Armenian, bachem means kiss.
Yes.
So I got so scared in kindergarten because I was like, I do not want this stranger, this old lady, to kiss me. I was genuinely terrified, like when I was in kindergarten.
So it had the same effect. It frightened you.
For sure. So definitely. The threat worked. That's all I'm going to say. So I went back home and I told my parents, my teacher is going to butt shell me. And they're crying a laughter. Because Shant, she's not going to kiss you. She's trying to say that you're going to get punished. Did you act that? Yes. So, and then eventually I got very good at switching dialects when I got older and obviously when I graduated. So Armenian culture has always played a dominant role in my life. I guess I'm very lucky to say that I can understand many dialects because I've had many friends growing up who have forgotten how to speak or have forgotten how to write, how to read. And I'm very fortunate to say that, some of those things I've been able to retain.
Yeah, that's awesome. Oh my God, that story is really funny. It reminds me of, so Shanlian, when I went there, it was majority Eastern speakers and I speak Western. So I remember every time a new kid would come into the class, which wouldn't happen that frequently, we would try to figure out which side is getting a member, So this guy came in once, I remember his name, Armin, and we were like, what kind of Armenian do you speak? Asking him in Armenian. And he looked confused and he goes, Wallahi, we're dying because obviously for those of you who don't speak Armenian, that is clearly an Arabic/Western dialect.
Definitely.
But it cracked us. The whole class just erupted in uproarious laughter.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Can I ask, how old were you when your parents split?
Well, my parents have been separated for how long? Since I was a kid.
They're not divorced. They're just separated?
They for a long time, they were separated until I got to 18. When I got into college, they got divorced.
Okay.
So I would say since 18, technically divorced, but they've been separated since pretty much when I was 2 or 3.
Oh, okay. So this is just a way that you've grown up. It wasn't like... Okay.
Yeah. It was just the way I grew up.
And you lived with your mom until you graduated high school and then you moved in with your dad?
Yes. So until I was like 6 or 7, I lived with my mom. My dad would come home every once in a while because he was so busy working and providing for the family. My grandparents moved into another house. My aunt moved into she was like, she just had a spare room. So she had her own house. But for a long time, it was just me and my mom and her mom. So her grandma. I mean, my grandma.
Yeah.
So I think about until when I was 18, once I got into CSUN for my undergrad, right about my second to third year, I moved in with my dad. I said my mom was already kind of shifting towards, having her own life. So I said, you know what, I got to go and worry about my own life as well. And then so I went and moved in with my dad. An opportunity came along. And then my dad I got this apartment set up. You want to come live with me? I said, I'm in. So I moved in with him in 2017 and we're still going strong.
Yeah, you guys seem very close, much more like friends, but very close. It's nice to see that relationship.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
How were you guys approached to be on the show?
Vanessa, go ahead. I'm not going to say mine yet.
Okay, let's see. Well, one of the members of the team, Audine, who was a production coordinator, she texted me out of the blue. We go like way back. She was my Oknagan, my assistant leader in Scouts. So we grew up together. She was actually my scout when she was younger, and then she got older, went through the ranks, became my assistant leader. It's a really cute story. But she texted me one day and she was like, hey, Vanessa, how are you? Are you still single? And I was like, hold on. Like, let's lower your voice, first of all. That's a lot of disrespect. Like, that again. Who wants to know?
Right.
And she's like, okay, can I give you a call really quick? So she gives me a call and she starts explaining this whole thing. And I'm like, Audine, no, like absolutely not. Do not even think about it. Get the idea out of your head. And she's like, Vanessa, please, like, I'm not even pitching it as great as it's going to be. Like, just come in and meet the team. Then you can decide, you can ask the questions that you have, like you're not committed to anything. Just like come in and meet them. And I'm like, fine, whatever. I'm really in no position to be turning down possible ways to meet him. So here I go. So I went in one day and I met with Alexa and Zoe and Tony. And, they spent like 2 hours with me, like getting to know me, getting to know my likes, my dislikes, my preferences, my dating history, all of this stuff. And I kind of walked away from it feeling like, if they're going to put this much time and effort into the candidates that would be dating me, then I guess it can't be that bad. Like they really spent a lot of time getting to know me and they were meticulous with their questions. And I just felt like it was like this really cathartic therapeutic session. Like I had never thought about what I like and dislike and, my preferences so much and so thoroughly till that point. So they kind of just started to really reel me in with it. And I was like, what do I have to lose? Like, I honestly, I really have nothing to lose, actually. So, and I'm not in a position to be saying no. If they're going to be my like personal matchmakers, I'm here for it. So, we just started to talk a little bit more and they told me that they wanted me to be on as one of the main singles. And I had a lot of, my family was just like, yes, they were so excited because, as the premise of the show states, that these people meet your family and your friends before they meet us. And like I've said, no one has ever met my friends or family from people that I've dated. So they were just like salivating at this opportunity. And, my friends, there were people here and there that were kind of like, are you sure you want to do this? Is this not going to reek of like desperation or something? And I was like, honestly, first of all, I don't care. I've never really cared what people thought about me. So I'm not going to start now. And second, like I'm going into this with it being an experience, period. Yeah. I am not going in there looking to find the love of my life or anything like that. I am going in to have a great experience with my friends and family. If anything comes of that, those are just added cherries on top of my sundae. So I'll take whatever it is. And honestly, I felt like that was the best mindset to go in with because I had no expectations. I went into each date like, let's go. I had a blast with every single one of them. Even when I didn't think that we vibed that much, I was like, I'm just happy I'm doing this. I'm just happy that my friends and family are getting this experience as well. And that was the most fulfilling part for me, honestly.
That's such a great attitude. And something that your mom said on the show was something that my mom used to say all the time, which is that friends and family, but she used to say your mother can see things that other people can't see. And I think there's a lot of truth to that.
Yeah.
And, when my mom first got a chance to have a sit down talk with my now husband, it was Christmas and it was just me, him, and my mom. Mm-hmm. And we all sat down at dinner. And my mom leaned in and she said, Stephen, tell me, what is your greatest fear? And we just, he was like, oh my God. He said, being asked that question, frankly.
Yeah, I mean, I think they really highlighted the conversations that I was having with my mom mainly because I have, for a majority of my life, always been like, I am nothing like my mom. Like, my mom and I are such complete opposite people. But even in watching the show, I'm like, oh my God, I think I'm making the same faces she's making. We have so many similar mannerisms. And even though we might clash, I think it's because we're so alike in so many ways. And we both think we're the right person. And I just, I love that we have those interactions as well captured on TV and her digs like, do you really have the best judge of character? And I was like, damn, with the savagery, mom, coming at me.
So Shant, how were you approached to be on the show?
Okay, I'm going to try to make this as dramatic as I can, even
Please.
though it's not that big of a deal. But,
drum roll.
Okay. It was December.
It was. Give us your phone voice. Yes.
It was December 2020, the heart of a very, very tough year that we were all facing. I can't continue the rest. But it was a tough year, especially with the 44-day Artsakh war. Yeah. There was a lot of uncertainty that was going on in our community, and I was just sitting in my room at the time. I think I just finished the final exam. So I was really, really stressed over it, and I finished it. And I see this, I'm on my Instagram, and I see this page, and it says Armenian Dating Show. It's this little unprofessional account that I see just on my feed. I was like, why do I know people that follow this? Because a lot of the mutuals pop up. I was like, wow, okay, whatever. So I scroll past it, and then they post something, and they tagged Kim Kardashian in it. I'm like, oh, this is definitely a spam account. There's no way this is a real account. I get a direct message from one of my old friends from high school. Her name is Olivia, and she worked on the show. Little did I know. She pitched it to me. She's like, oh yeah, there's this company called Miasin. She sent me an entire paragraph, and this was just fresh off of, I got viral during the summer on Twitter for posting a video, and I'll just make, I don't have the link, but okay. It was a reaction to some dude trashing a girl for wanting to wear a bikini, something like that. And the guy was really, really Armo, like traditional Armo. And he was just like, why are you you know the whole shebang, right? So I just made a 40-second reaction video basically saying, what are you doing? And that thing caught by storm. That video just went everywhere. And then I started making sketch comedy videos through that, and everybody was just loving it. Everyone was just watching it, and it was everywhere. And my friend sent me the application, said, I think you'd be great for this show. And I was like, I don't know if I should do it. And I walked into my dad came home. Perfect timing. I went up to him. I said, this is the deal. This is what it is. He goes, you should do it. I'm like, yeah, I'm thinking about doing it. And then he's like, yeah, apply for it. See what happens. Do it for fun. I said, okay. And then 3-4 months later, I'm in an interview with Tony, Zoe, and Alexa. And I was like, there's no way I'm actually going through with this. Once I got the opportunity, when I was in Palm Springs, and I got an email saying, oh yeah, you're selected for the show. I'm like, shit, there's no way I actually got it. But afterwards I was like, you know what? I'm in, let's have some fun. And I was very excited to do the whole thing. So that was the best thing that could have happened in 2020 for me, honestly.
It says a lot about both of you and your willingness to just be open and go for it and welcome this experience and throw yourself into the unknown, because it wasn't like you could watch the previous season and see what happened. Like, you're the first. This is big.
Yeah, definitely. I had to take well, my dad and we had to take a gamble. Once we got the opportunity, and I told him that you have to meet them first. He goes, I wish you didn't do this show. And I was like, you have to go first. You have to. And then I obviously asked it took a while before I picked up Menua, because there were a bunch of other people that I figured I can call on for them to be on the show. I definitely called Menua first, but Menua was like, I don't know. I'll get back to you. So I went through my other friends. I was like, do you want to be on a show? Da, da, da. And everybody was just like, I'm busy. I'm okay. And I was just like, all right, Menua, you want to be on it? Yeah, I'll be on it. I'm like, perfect. So now we're here. What, Vanessa, was it like 8 months later? 9 months later?
I mean, I don't even know if I can disclose or not when I filmed, but for me, it was in July. I know that I was the last person to film, but even then it's been, 5 months since the show. So
yeah,
it's still been a long time for both of us.
Yeah.
Are you guys like not allowed? I'm sorry, I'm talking over you. Are you like not allowed to post stuff on your social media that would indicate one way or another who you might be dating or not dating?
I don't think that they've like explicitly stated don't, but since there are people that are following us now because of the show, like I definitely wouldn't want to spoil anything, which I weirdly somehow like people thought that I did when the episode of mine and Hampig's date premiered. I had posted a picture that I had taken with him at the premiere party that of the two of us, like in a very prom posed photo. And I wrote like hashtag Hampesa forever.
Oh my God, that's too funny.
What did you do? You spoiled it. I'm like, oh crap. Like, oh my God. People think that I spoiled it when my intent was more just like, I love Hampig. Like, I will always be his number one supporter. Like, just because it didn't work out doesn't mean that, like, I hate the guy. Like, I'm actually very close to all three of them still. So, like, it was just funny because I was like, I thought I was being, like, really cheeky with it. And people were like, what did you do? And I'm like, oh.
Do you read the comments on YouTube?
I try not to, but my dad comes in here every day. Shant, did you hear what they said? I'm like, Dad, get off the damn comments. Please don't.
Right, Dad, I would read the comments too because they love him. Everyone's talking about how hot your dad is and how he needs to have his own show.
He's getting the spin-off, I think.
Or don't even start. My dad comes in here every day. He comes in, he goes, I'm the superstar, right? I'm like, yeah, I know. I've been saying it before the show started that you would be the favorite. I've been calling it out. He's like, but I don't do anything. I'm like, it's because that's why. I'm like, you have no expectation. You have nothing. You just go in there and just drop knowledge and you leave. So you can be yourself. And I think he's 55 and he's a parent. He's a single parent. He can relate to a lot of the Armenians that are not getting enough representation. On top of that, he is a character in and of himself. I call him a big child. He can relate to both younger audiences and older audiences. So he can just go in there, say what he wants to say, and leave. And you can have the entire audience rolling on the floor and supporting him. That's the gift that he has
He's the philosopher of the show, for sure.
He's Mr. Rogers. He's Armenian Mr. Rogers, for sure.
Yeah, he is.
I made my husband binge watch it during Thanksgiving, and he was like, that guy's handsome. Like, okay, Dad.
Oh my God. Yeah. I mean, they've told us, like, do not read the comments. Do not read the comments. And, like, at first I was like, I'm not reading the comments. But obviously, like, I'm a sick person and I'm going to read them. Like, why would I not? And for the most part, I would say, like, 95% of the comments, which is very high, I would say are very positive. People just loving the show, loving the people, getting to know more about the Armenian culture. And then probably about like 5% are comments that are not so favorable. And speaking for myself, there were comments that I saw about myself that I was like, ooh, okay. And I knew when I signed up to do this, there would be comments like this. And it's something that I really kind of wanted to address because There were people that said, like, she's in her 30s, she's loud, she's opinionated, she's too big, she's overweight, she's this and she's that. People who don't know me, just seeing me and making comments about, you know, what I look like, the fact that I have an opinion, the fact that I'm looking for an equal partner. And I realized in that moment in reading a couple of these comments that, like, I had two choices, right? I could either spiral and take it personally, or I could take from it what I wanted. And in that, it was that I don't feel bad. When someone has a problem with my confidence, that's their problem. It's not my problem if people are uncomfortable with me being who I am. And what you see for my experience is exactly who I am. Camera or no camera, that is the Vanessa that you will experience. And I was really upset with seeing the fact that people still think that they can comment on women's appearances, you know, in 2021. But at the end of the day, I realized that, like, these people that are here typing from their mom's basement about what I look like really has nothing to do with me and more so to do with them. And, you know, their negativity isn't going to dull my sparkle. And, you know, if anything, like, it kind of grew my confidence even more, because I was like, I don't care what these people say. If being a strong Armenian independent woman makes you uncomfortable, bye. Like, just bye.
That just needs to be like the sound clip for this episode.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, when I started doing this, and I have a lot of different topics that we've covered over the years on this show, and we're super LGBTQ friendly and all these different topics. And I started getting hate mail, like did stuff on like interracial Armenian marriages, and I got a bunch of hate mail. And I read it to my husband and he was like, "Oh, honey, I'm sorry." And I was like, "No, this is awesome." Yeah. Like, I have arrived.
Yeah. Exactly. There's always going to be the haters, and you can kind of choose to do with it. And I knew, obviously, with signing up to do this show, that I was opening myself up for that, which is already hard because I don't enjoy being very vulnerable. So, you know, you kind of wonder, Vanessa, then why the hell were you going on a reality show? But I felt like it would be something that could help me grow a bit, you know, to be honest, like to kind of bring down my walls. And, you know, in reading those comments, I was just like, I really don't care what it is you think of me at all. And, you know, it's those people that would be people that I would never date anyway. So, like, peace and blessings to you, my friends.
I'm sure that was accompanied with a hand gesture.
Not a favorable one.
Oh my God. So what did you, for both of you, like, what did you expect the experience to be like? And then how was it similar or different to your expectations?
Vanessa, you want to go ahead and do this one? Okay, so for my expectations were, I'm just going to go on camera, have fun, and whatever happens, happens. I had little to no expectation because I had no idea what I was getting myself really into. I thought it was going to be some web series. I didn't know the level of tech these guys are going to come in with, the crew is going to come in with. I just went in blind, but I was very optimistic. I knew that for me, there was going to be no negative to come out of this project. Just for me. I knew that if the show didn't pick up traction, I can still say I went on an Armenian dating show and I could laugh about it and I could joke about it. As far as, you know, you said experience compared to my initial thoughts, right? Did you say something along the lines of that?
How did it meet your expectations, or how is it different from what you expected?
Oh, yeah, the professionalism, definitely. I walked into this, well, first things first, they showed up in my house and we were, you know, the camera guys came in, Aaron came in, cinematographers came in, and I was like, this is a little too professional for my taste. They have $70,000 camera rigs set up in my living room. You know, they have the sound girl Bree. Shout out to Bree. She had the tape, she had the mic set up, and I was like, oh my God, this is insane. This is so cool. Because my little kid in me, the kid in me has always wanted to be behind the set working in entertainment just to have fun with it. But the stress of the whole field was something that I couldn't really invest my time in. I just wanted to do something. Back when I was a kid, I was like, this is going to be fun. to act or to be on a show. It was just a fun thing. But to make a career out of it was something that I never really thought would be stable enough for me. So to have 18 plus years later, a crew come in with cameras, sound people, a director on set, a producer on set, and they're allowing me to be myself, to be creative in however which way, to be authentic, and to have my dad in the camera. My dad doesn't do any of this stuff. Menno hasn't done any of this stuff. So for them to be behind me and to support me throughout the entire process of this show, and for it to come out the way that it did, we were all blown away by what we saw, because we were like, we did not expect it to be this perfect as far as how it was shot, how it was edited. It showed its class. It really did.
It was really well done and could compare with any other reality show on TV. Like I said that to Anthony when we were first talking, like the shots are beautiful, the music, the composition, the interviews, like it is so professional. I wasn't expecting it to be like that either.
Definitely.
All. Yeah, at all. It was, I'd say for me, it was like my expectations and the actual experience were night and day. To be completely honest, a part of the reason that I agreed to do it is because I thought like 7 people were going to see this, myself being one of those 7. So I was like, I really have nothing to lose. This is low stakes. No one's going to see it. And it's going to be fine. If I completely make a fool of myself, then no problem. I can carry on with my dating life. But exactly like Shant said, they show up to, our houses. And I'm like, what is going on? There's multiple cameras. There's someone that's miking us. There's a boomer, a gaffer, a this, a that. I'm like, what is happening? And even from there to, the way that they picked out all of the places that we went on our dates, to highlighting, Armenian owned companies and restaurants and cafes, and the way they took care of us, even just checking in on us. Like it was a couple days ago, like Thanksgiving break, Anthony called me just to check in on me. Launched half the episodes. How are you feeling? I think that care and consideration is something I did not think was going to be there. I really thought it was kind of going to be like, I hate to say it, like most other Armenian things that I've seen that are just kind of like fly by night. They throw it together and the production value isn't that great, but the amount of care that they put into the dates, the show, the cast members, it like blows my mind. And I'm forever grateful for having signed up to do it, if for nothing else than meeting people that I would have never met otherwise.
I fully expect this show will be picked up by Netflix or something. I mean, you've got the Hulu connections. I don't know.
I might have to like recuse myself from working there so that they can.
Oh my God, but it's so good. It's like Indian matchmaking that we all fell in love with, and we're, at least my friends.
It is. And I honestly think that the dating show format is the perfect way to have made this segue into highlighting Armenian culture, because first of all, I would say that reality TV wise, most people love to watch a dating show because it's passive watching. It's just pure entertainment. For better or worse, whether the dates are good or not, it's entertainment value. If it's a train wreck, you love to watch it. If it's amazing, you love to see it happen. And the fact that it isn't like thrown in your face, let's talk about our history and let's talk about this, which is what I think a lot of non-Armenians have kind of gotten used to with witnessing Armenians in media. It was a great foray, I think, into the entertainment world. And it sprinkles things about our culture, our heritage, our language, our history. And it makes it digestible for people who are not Armenian to watch in an enjoyable way.
It's so relatable. I mean, that's why I liken it to Indian matchmaking, because, I mean, outside of Indian food, I don't have a ton of connection with Indian culture, but I got to see, the astrologer is a really big deal. The matchmaker is like very specific in this culture. And so I was telling Tony and Zoe the other day, we should next time have like go to an Armenian fortune teller and have her like read copy cups to predict how the date is going to go. I'm full of ideas. Half of them are terrible, but I have ideas. And I love doing stuff like that. I agree. It's something that everyone can relate to. I love love. I'm like ever hopeful when I see them. I'm like, yes, I could see why they're matched. I could see like this could work.
Yeah,
and then I'm like, how did it not work? Sorry, what?
You feel like you're a part of the journey.
Yes. Also, I dated for so many decades. I didn't, I met my husband when I was 17, but we didn't have a serious relationship or much of anything until I was 34.
Mm-hmm.
So by that time, all the Armenians had counted me out of the game for a good decade. Like, she's too old. Let her marry anyone. Just
No way.
So I had a lot of dating experience, and my friends would listen. I was the original Armenian Dating Show. Okay. I would go out with people and entertain my friends the next day. And the worse the date was, the better the story was the following day. So yeah.
That's so funny.
Battle wounds.
Wear them proudly.
Yes. What have you guys learned about yourself in this process? Because it's a lot to go through, and it's a lot to be vulnerable, whether you're used to it or not, with the cameras, with the blind dates. There's so many things going on. What did you learn about yourself?
Shant, please, you go ahead first.
Okay.
Trying to figure out what I've learned.
Okay, perfect. As far as what I've learned on the show, I realized that each person you have to deal with individually. The date that is in front of you, they're a different human being, and each path is different to the person that they are. And this is kind of like, let me explain it in specifics. When you walk into a date, there's no formula. You can't really go into a date with this idea that, okay, I'm going to talk about this, I'm going to say this, and then I'm going to ask her this or ask them this. There is no steering wheel to control on a date. It's just more so you have to be yourself, and you have to really show interest into the other person, and you have to be patient. I think I learned that through the dates that I went on, especially on this show, that I have to be a little bit more conscious and aware that not everyone is going to be as open on the first date as I am, because I just threw myself, I got more comfortable as the dates went on, and I'm the sort of person where I just throw myself out there, and if you like me, you like me. If you don't, I don't think you'll ever will. That's kind of like my personality, and that's okay. If you don't like me, I don't have an issue with it. But when it comes to my dating life, I realize that I have to be more patient with the person in front of me, and that I can't fake it. I learned that the more I fake it, the more likely they're going to fake it. If I'm real about it, they're going to be more real about it. So you have to match the person's energy more when you're on the date. And I think that's like a key to the success of the date, so to speak. That's what I think I learned from going on the show and going on those dates.
So I think what I learned in being able to watch the dates back, which given our edited, we're on those dates for much longer than people are actually seeing, but you're so in your mind, I think, on the date a little bit. At least I was very like, there was a lot going on in my mind on all of these dates. And at the end of it, when I watched back the dates, I realized like you were right to feel the way that you did after each of those dates. Like, trust your gut. You knew what was right for you. And it made me a little bit more confident, like I said earlier, about just trusting in myself, trusting in my gut. There's a reason we have it. It's meant to be followed. And, I knew that after watching, for example, my date with Hampik, I knew people were going to be upset with me because they saw that we had such a great connection. And that's all great and dandy. And I don't need to explain to anyone else why that wasn't the right fit for me. I mean, I explained it for the purposes of the show, and Hampik is a great person, but there will always be someone that is great for another person. But what I am looking for is something more than that. And for someone to think that that means that I'm picky, or that means that I'm being hypercritical or whatever, that's on you. I am going to spend the rest of my life with whoever this person is that I choose, hopefully for the rest of my life. So I need to trust in myself that it's the right person. I need to know that we have this undeniable chemistry and spark, and we understand each other, and I feel challenged by them. And, we challenge each other and we help each other grow. And I understand that these are just first dates, but I'm now 32 years old. I know what makes for a good date. And if it wasn't for the show, if Hampig and I, for example, just met, on the street, on an app, whatever, and we had that date, yeah, I'd probably go out with him again. I would explore that maybe a little bit further. But for the purposes of the show, it was who I had the best connection with. So that's what I had to go off of. And I knew that I had to be true to myself. And it was, to go with someone that makes me a better version of myself in what I got on that 1 hour date. I think my main takeaway was trust in yourself. You've got a good head on your shoulders with the help of your friends and family. In this case specifically, with this date, all of their opinions about the people that I went out with aligned. So I knew that I wasn't like shooting in the dark basically with what I thought after each of these dates. And that was really, it helped me feel a little bit more comfortable with the decisions that I made, that my friends and family were in alignment with my decisions.
What was it like to call the people that you went out on a date with and either ask them out on another date or say, you're awesome, but I just don't think we've clicked? Because that's something that we don't often get in the real world. A lot of times if, you might get ghosted by someone that you think you had a great date with and you're like, why did he never call? Or whatever it is. Like I appreciate the closure that is built into this process, but I always get super cringy when you guys are calling the dates to say whatever you have to say. I like hold my breath. It's nerve-wracking. So what's it like for you on camera?
Oh my God. You think you're holding your breath? We're literally sweating like I was sweating in places I didn't even know I had pores. Like here's like a behind the scenes scoop. Like they turn off the AC while they're filming. And for me personally, we were shooting in the dead of July in the valley with these lights on you. So
that sounds like torture.
Profusely sweating, right? And like, when I had to do it with Tade, I was like, I am gonna throw up like on this FaceTime. And it was funny because normally like, I am at that age where I try not to ghost people at this point. Like I'm a bit of an adult now. There's no reason why you can't tell another person, like, I just didn't feel it. But like, that's normally happening via text, and it's totally acceptable. But now to be like, hey, let's see each other and let me tell you that I'm not choosing you for another date was really anxiety inducing for me. And especially because, for me with Tade, I don't know if people got the impression or not, but I personally had the impression, and I say this with all the love in my heart towards Tade. Let me just preface it with that. But, I think he was kind of used to getting his way. I think he is a bit of a Casanova and was not expecting to hear no. So, having...
You're gonna have to send him some flowers after this episode airs.
I will say, like, he has taken it. Like, we've actually built a really great friendship since then. But in the moment as it's happening, you obviously don't know how they're reacting to it or how they're gonna react to it when they finally see the episodes. And I was terrified about that because I was like, I said so much in those interviews. Like, I wonder what they actually captured of me saying about him.
I have to say, I agreed with your instincts that he was... Okay, I have to watch what I say too. Yeah. I agreed with your instincts. We'll just leave it at that.
Yeah. I mean, ultimately, it was, and I've spoken to him about it since. So, I don't feel guilt or shame in repeating it. But I ultimately felt like neither of us were each other's type.
Yeah.
And I think it was like we were both trying to do the best that we could. And to be very honest, on the date, I was very impressed by him. Like, he's successful, he's good looking, he's like, he can hold the conversation. But there were things that I didn't like, you know, telling me to cover up my tattoo, or, you know, asking if I know how to make hormazabzi. It's like, do you know how to build a house? Like, I'm not starting.
Do you know how to kill a bear and make its pelt into a winter coat? Do you?
You know, so I mean, I ultimately think he is a great guy. He really is, and there is someone out there for him. It just isn't me, and I'm not that person for him, and he's not that person for me. And ultimately, it was like, though we both may have felt that, having to deliver that news on camera was like, really, really stressful. And it was funny because for some reason I was having like Wi-Fi issues that day in my house while I was calling him. And I was like, yeah, so Tade, I don't think there's going to be a second date. And he was like, Vanessa, sorry, you cut out. And I was like, oh, okay, I'll repeat that, because that wasn't hard enough the first time.
You're like, I'll just text you, okay, Tade?
So then I repeated it, and he was like, what? Did you say that you had a great time and you want to go out with me again? And I was like,
God, no. Oh my God.
Like, yeah, no, not at all. So, you know, so that was just funny what was going on in the background.
Dying.
And I loved seeing Shant having to call the people too, I will say, because I'm like,
oh my God,
yeah, we are in this together, brother.
Oh my God, I was sweating bullets trying to call, because look, it was very unnatural, but it was a breath of fresh air. Because as you know, as I think Lara said, we're not accustomed to this level of courtesy, especially in this dating culture that we're in. We just either ghost people or we just text them like, nah, or like if we just wait for a direct message if they're interested again, and then we just like, nah, I don't really want to talk to you anymore. I'm seeing someone else. So it was very, very nice to give us the opportunity to call the people that we went on dates with, to just let them know, or to just express our feelings about the dates in general. It was very, very nice, I would say. But the one thing I'll say, and this is just a little bit of a spoiler for people who haven't watched it yet, my phone call with Cammy was one of the look, I was not expecting that phone call to end the way that it did. No,
she may have been having Wi-Fi issues.
Nah, that's not Wi-Fi issues. That's definitely not Wi-Fi issues. She had aimed on the red X. She aimed on the red X before I even started on that conversation. And this is like, I'm just joking with Cammy. And she's great. She did her job. For her to come on a show and to expose herself the way that she did, and to really be herself, I think was admirable. I mean, for her to be on a dating show with me, to go on a date with me, that's enough of a struggle. But like,
oh, you're so kind. But no, I think the fact that many of her family members didn't know was really weighing on her, and kind of like the reality of it like sunk in when she was on the date with you, because she got emotional.
Yes, I think so, 100%. And for her to be on the phone call with me and then just randomly click the X button, like just like that quick. I mean, I think they cut a little bit of it out afterwards, but that reaction was genuine. And I'm so glad they kept it in, because that is exactly how I felt. No exaggeration there. I was like, okay. I didn't know it was that bad, Cammy. And I'm the one saying I don't think it'll work for a next date, like, you know. But it was very, very cool to have that part of the
Did
show.
you have like a glass of whiskey or something when you're making these calls? Because I feel like I could use one when I'm watching it. Like, okay, hold on, they're about to call. Somebody pour me a drink.
I was sober as a straight arrow. I said no. I sat there and I was taking a blood test. Like not a blood test, drug test. That's what I did. Like, I was ready to go. I was like, I'm gonna call these people, and they wouldn't let me turn on the AC in my house.
Yeah.
And I have tints on the windows, and it gets really hot. And most of these phone calls were done in like the afternoon time. Mm-hmm. And Bree, our sound girl, was like, you can't turn on the AC because it makes a noise in the mic.
Yeah.
So I'm in a black shirt calling a girl on my phone On top of it, oh my God. Like, I'm trying to find the words to be like, yeah, it's not going to work. And she has the gall, the gumption to click the red X before I even say, bye, Cammy. Have a good day.
I do have to say though, Shant, I think when I like fell in love with you, and most people did, is honestly the like poise and grace that you showed in the call after Natasha. Like, we all saw how much you felt that you guys vibed and what a great time you had. And honestly, like, I think most people could be like, oh, he's going to be immature and be like, screw her, whatever. I don't need her. It's fine. But you showed so much class in the way you handled that. Like, that's honestly when I was like, yo, he deserves the best.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Totally. Utterly lovable and warm and sweet. And just to be able to see an Armenian guy be even a little bit vulnerable was something that a lot of us needed to see. And it was, I don't even have words for it. I don't know anyone that didn't want to go put their arms through the screen and give you a hug at that moment. and like Vanessa said, the way you handled it was so well.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. I really do.
Do both of you, or do either of you, think that it is important, or how do I phrase this question? Is it important to you that your life partner be Armenian?
You can go first, Vanessa. I've been talking too much.
There was a point in my life where I was just kind of like, love is love. And if I find that love in a non-Armenian, then it is what it is. And that my family is just going to have to be okay with it. I mean, there are non-Armenians in my family as well. So it's like, it's not like I would be the first one doing it. It's not like I'm going to break anyone's heart. But also as I got a little older, I think I started to see that, yeah, there is an ease to being with an Armenian or someone who just shares, I guess, your culture. Now, that doesn't mean that you can be non-Armenian and also not have that respect and love for the Armenian culture. I'm at that point where it's like, I would ideally love my partner to be Armenian so that, we can have this shared identity, so that we can talk crap about people together in a shared life. Things like that. But also, like, in all seriousness, I don't think that that's the only thing that makes a relationship successful, but at all.
Of course.
If there is someone out there that is right for me, that just is, appreciative of our culture. If I was to be with, for example, a Latino, I would want my children to speak Spanish and Armenian. Like, I would want to embrace that culture as much as they do mine. So ultimately, it is a preference of mine, but it is by no means the be all end all.
What about you, Shant?
To me, how do I put this? It's important, but not important. I think I value the connection of the individual more than their background. Obviously it would be a lot easier if culturally, socially, to have my life partner be Armenian, but I'm not opposed to the idea if it's somebody else from a different ethnic background or from, a different part of the world. It doesn't matter to me. I've seen the good in Armenian women. I've seen the bad in Armenian women. I've seen the good in women from different cultures and it doesn't matter. I judge a person on their merit and their moral compass and how well I gel with them. If she ticks all the boxes for me, then I think it would be equivalent to that level of comfort and that ease of dating someone that would be Armenian. It would feel like family anyway, because you'll just understand that spark is there. It just clicks. So to me, it doesn't really matter, but if they are, they are. If they aren't, they aren't. That's the easiest way I'm going to put it.
I love that they would be family anyway. I thought that was a beautiful way to put it.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for agreeing to be on the show and for being so delightfully yourselves. I've had a really awesome time. And I wanted to ask you guys if you have just a couple more minutes. We like to wrap up the shows with our 5 fun questions.
All right.
And so do you have a moment?
I
Yeah.
hope one of the questions is, what's your favorite food?
Okay. Don't get ahead of me. Do you know all the questions, Vanessa? All of them?
No, I don't know any of them, but I'm answering shrimp this time.
Oh my
All right, that is the first question. What is your favorite Armenian food? Not just food. What's your favorite Armenian dish?
For me, I will say it's not really even Armenian, but I'm going to go with chikufte all day, every day.
Oh, that's
like
right.
I said, it is chikufte and I have a love affair.
Okay, I'm gonna tell you something now. This is a breakfast. I just keep it simple. Lavashi gananchi patar. That's it. It's a wrap in lavash with some, what's the word I'm looking for? It's like greens in it
Yeah.
and some picnicky paneer. That's it. And give me sadaf chai on the next to it, sadaf tea, and I'm good to go. That's
That
my
is so
breakfast.
cool. I really thought because of your Instagram handle that you were going to say Monty.
Monty, yeah.
You know, can we edit that? Let's start from
You can have 2. You can have 2 favorites. How's
Okay.
that?
Okay, perfect. On my social media, I like Monty. In real life,
In real life.
it's a lavashi patar with picnicky paneer cheese. And for people who don't understand this, it's based. How do you lavash? Right? I don't know
Yeah.
how to translate it in English. Lavash.
Bread.
Yeah, and just like what's the word I'm looking for? Feta cheese in it, some greens, and some sadaf tea. The red one, not the green one.
I don't know about the tea. I'm not that level of Armenian, but
It comes in a red box and a green box. The red box is better. Trust.
okay. I know that Shant, you said you understand both Western and Eastern Armenian. What about you, Vanessa?
I understand both. Actually, my morkurt, my mom's sister's husband is Hayastansi, and he's been in my life since before I was born. So I understand both, except if it has a lot more Russian. Like if you're
Yeah.
kind of, code switching with a lot more Russian words, then I start to lose you. But for the most part, I understand both dialects.
Okay. Third question, and a lot of people have difficulty on this. I don't know if you guys will, but what is the most American thing about you?
Oh shit. Probably the fact that I say dude and bro too many times in a sentence and I sound like a frat boy. I guess that's the most American thing.
I think that just means you live in Southern
Yeah,
California.
I would say that's the most American thing I do, probably.
I guess mine would probably be like my career choice. I'm not a lawyer or doctor. I work in
Yes.
entertainment. Trying to explain that to my grandmother, when she's like, "Oh, chicas, what do you do?" And I'm like, I work in entertainment. And she's like, "Huh?" Or like when I tried to tell her that I wanted to get a minor in college in communications, and she was like, "You want to get a diploma to talk? What does that mean?"
That is hilarious. Oh my God.
Yeah. She was like, "You already talk too much. You don't need a diploma."
Oh man.
All right,
Grandma's got the
thanks,
burns. Do you have a favorite Armenian celebrity? And if so, who?
Oof. I think because I'm boss guy, I kind of have to go with this. I have 2.
Okay.
One of them, do you remember the guy who made that commercial Shifted, Gurgen?
I do.
Yeah, I made a video with them in high school for like my senior roast. We had a senior roast and I did like a commercial type bit with him. So I went to his mechanic shop and I filmed with him. So I would say Gurgen is one of my favorites because he's really funny on that commercial. And definitely because I'm boss guy, Persian Armenian, I'm going to go with Andy for sure.
Okay.
Are you kidding?
I have 2 as well. I know that most people are like, obviously Kim Kardashian. And I do think like, yeah, she's done a lot for the Armenian community. But I would have to go with my forever queen Cher because, you know, like I think I fell in love with her in her interview when she talked about her relationship with her mom, saying like her mom said to her, like, honey, you need to marry a rich man. And she said, Mom, I am a rich man. That
Nice.
confidence and that like level of self-awareness and feminism and strength was really inspiring to me. And I mean, I love her music always and forever.
I don't want to burst your bubble, but Cher is the number one answer on our podcast.
Really?
Damn it! Why can't I be original?
Is Gurgen the last?
That's a first. That's a first, you guys.
And I mean, you know, there really is. It's kind of funny. I did this whole like thing last year during the war. I did like Armenian class with V, and it was mainly for like my non-Armenian friends on social media. Like I would post something like facts about Armenians every day. And, you know, there was so much that I was learning too in all of it. And Armenians, we've done a lot, and there's a lot to be proud of, whether it's from athletes that we have to chess champions to singers, songwriters to reality stars, whatever it is. It just shows you like how diverse Armenian talents are. And I think that that's all beautiful. So all of them are my favorite celebrities.
Did you say a second one? Because I'm waiting. It was like Cher and then...
Okay, I would have to say Levon Aharonyan, the chess player, the chess grandmaster, Jedi of chess. And I know that's not a very, I guess, common answer, but my entire life just wanted to learn how to play chess. And I feel like him becoming as successful as he has really kind of like blew up how chess is taught to Armenians in school. It's actually a compulsory subject that's taught to kids in Armenia. And it's one of those subjects that you'd be like, oh, why are they teaching their kids how to play chess? Oh, so they can be grandmasters? No, it really opens your mind to think about things in different ways. And that is really what's beautiful to me. So I guess I would say those two.
Yeah, you might want to send your future children to AGBU because chess is compulsory there too.
Oh, that's what I'm going to have to do.
Were they teaching it when you went there, Shant?
Yeah, they had like a little chess club, and it was like, what, 8 kids that were in it?
In elementary school, like my daughter has chess class. It's something she gets grades for.
I don't remember. No, we didn't have like grades, because if they had grades for chess class, bro, I'd be flunking that. There's no way. I would not be able to pass that game. No way.
Oh my God. Okay, last question, and my favorite. Do you know how to read Armenian coffee cups? Don't laugh.
That came out of left field.
No, you so clearly do not follow my Instagram because every Monday we post, thank you, Vanessa. Every Monday we post Armenian coffee cups and we invite people to interpret what they see. So it's like a huge, huge part of my life. So it's a very important question, Shant. You're going to have to read my cup now to make up for that.
I will. I'll do my best. But you know what they say, it's very subjective. So I think you're going to like what you see in your cup if you ask me to read it.
Yerek oren, yerek shapon.
It's so funny because my nene, like my grandma, she was the block resident coffee cup reader. So people would come to her and she would read it multiple times a day, by the way. Like I thought we had like a fortune shop that was she would moonlight as like a fortune teller or something. And it's so funny because in listening to them year after year, over all of these years, just hearing them, they always are like, you know, there's a path you've got to follow. There's a light you should see. There's someone coming into your life. There's a bird overhead. It's like the same things always. And I thought that it would be the funniest thing to like really just change it up one day. So one day when she had her cup of coffee, I told her that I wanted to read it because I had learned so much from her. And I pulled out the most bizarre things just like to piss her off. I was like, Nene, look, there's a dragon in your cup. There's really a 3-ring circus on the other side. The dragon's telling you go to the circus. And he was like, what the hell are you talking about? He was so mad at me. And I was like, Nana, it's what I see. You can't tell me that's not right. She's like, that's a bird. It's not a dragon. I'm like, of course it's a bird. Of course it's a bird in this cup.
I really thought the ending of the story was going to be like, and she showed me her dragon tattoo and tickets to the circus.
Oh my God. If that happened, I'd actually throw the coffee cup across the room and just like, end it all. But I mean, no, to answer the question, no, I do not know how. But I think it's funny when you try to like punk someone like you do, and they're just kind of like, what the hell are you talking about? Like, this does not follow the coffee cup reading, like, you know, guidebook. You're making up things. Okay, but so are you. Like,
Is she? And
it's funny because when I was younger, I'd always be like, oh my God, Nana, you are so right. A man did come into my life today. Like, I really believed it, but it was like, yeah, there's a new person in your life every day. Like, what does that mean?
Well, if you would indulge me, if you do drink Armenian coffee and you can turn it over and take a couple of photos for us when it dries, I would love to post your coffee cups. Shant, it sounds like you're a tea drinker. Do you drink?
I'm a tea drinker. I'm not a coffee drinker. Sorry.
That's a no for Shant. Okay.
Sorry to do that to you.
It's okay.
I am not. I myself. It was, you know, it's one of those.
She's not going to call us back ever again to do these podcasts.
Like, you two are canceled. But
I'm just gonna force you to drink Armenian coffee.
She made me surjovgat. So it's like, you know, like a latte, I guess. I don't know, like Armenian. But you know, it's funny because when I was younger and wanted to try the coffee, they had like, you know, those old wives' tales, like if you drink coffee, you'll grow a mustache. And because, you know, like there's the grounds that would be like on your mouth, but you can't drink coffee. Otherwise, like hair will sprout from places that shouldn't and blah, blah, blah. So I grew up with that fear and I was like, yo, I don't want to be any hairier. Like, no.
So I have never heard that in my life, but perhaps you've solved a mystery. Oh my God. Okay. I love both of you guys, even though you don't drink Armenian coffee and you're breaking my heart. This has been so awesome talking to both of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you. It's been awesome sitting here talking with you. I think we gave a sour taste in your mouth on the way out.
No.
From the coffee, but no,
I just really love it so much, but that's okay. Like, will you let go of the coffee?
If someone wants to read my Armenian coffee, I'm okay with it. I've never had my cup read, like, you know.
Well,
read.
Let me not overstate my enthusiasm about reading Armenian coffee cups. If ever you want someone to read it, just send it over.
You got it. I'll send it over.
You can watch the Armenian Dating Show on YouTube at Miasin Inc. And you can follow Vanessa on Instagram at Vanessa V and Shant at Shanti Monty. And we will have all of this in the show notes for this episode. Also, if you want to follow the Armenian Dating Show, it's at the Armenian Dating Show on Instagram. And just today, I realized that there's a website that nobody ever told me about, thearmeniandatingshow.com, where you can see photos, watch episodes. I think there's merch. It's just awesome. You have to go check it out. I thank you all for being a part of our Armenian Enough family, and especially to those who support us on Patreon. We couldn't do this without you. If you haven't already done so, go and binge watch the Armenian Dating Show with your friends and family and share it along with this podcast with those you love. Thank you so much for listening. Until next time, remember that you are always more than enough.